After 5 years together, my fiancé said he wasn't sure about marrying me, then joked in front of his friends that if I had a better body he'd be more excited about the wedding. This morning his mom called me crying because she needed to tell me the truth about why he was really having doubts. Marcus and I have been together for just over 5 years, engaged for the last 7 months. We met through mutual friends at a party, bonding over terrible horror movies and hatred of pretentious wine. Our relationship moved at a comfortable pace, dating for a year, moving in together after 2, getting our dog Chester at year 3, and getting engaged last spring. The proposal wasn't dramatic, just a Sunday afternoon at the Botanical Gardens. We set the date for this November and started planning, well, mostly me planning while he gave vague approvals. About 3 months ago, Marcus started making strange comments when we discussed wedding details. Nothing overtly negative, just hesitant. When I showed him venue options, he'd say things like, "That's a lot to spend on one party," or "Do we need that many guests?" I brushed it off as typical budget concerns or general male disinterest in planning. Then came the delayed responses to my messages about catering options. I'd send him menu choices and he'd reply hours later with "Just looks good" or "Whatever you prefer." When I asked if everything was okay, he said work was crazy. His marketing agency had several big campaigns launching. It made sense. Last month he started going out more with his work buddy Nathan. They'd grab drinks after work or catch games at Nathan's place. Nothing unusual, just more frequent. When he'd come home he seemed distracted, constantly on his phone, being less engaged. I talked to my best friend Riley about it and she suggested pre-wedding jitters. She recommended we have a proper date night to reconnect. So last Friday I made reservations at this new steakhouse downtown. Put on a dress I hadn't worn in months, even bought Marcus's favorite whiskey to have at home after. The date was a disaster. He was completely checked out, barely participating in conversation. When I brought up finalizing honeymoon plans, he dropped it on me. He wasn't sure if he was ready for all this. Not just the honeymoon, but the wedding, marriage, everything. I was stunned. 5 years together, 7 months engaged, and now he wasn't sure. When I pressed him, he mentioned conversations with Nathan about how marriage ruins relationships. Referenced Nathan's cousin's ugly divorce. The conversation escalated quickly, with me trying not to cause a scene while feeling like everything was crumbling. We barely ate. The drive home was silent and heavy. At home he deflected, saying he needed time to think before crashing on the couch. The next morning was painfully awkward. We moved around each other like uncomfortable roommates. He mentioned meeting Nathan and some work people for lunch to watch football at the Iron Horse, the bar downtown. I was too emotionally exhausted to argue. A few hours later, Riley convinced me to get out. We went for coffee and I told her everything. Riley suggested maybe Marcus was just experiencing normal cold feet. After coffee we wandered Target aimlessly, my usual coping mechanism. I bought unnecessary candles and new hand soap because retail therapy counts as therapy. By evening I felt slightly calmer and headed home. I was pulling into our complex when I got a text from Brett, one of Marcus's coworkers I'd met at their summer barbecue. The message asked if I was okay and mentioned things got uncomfortable at the Iron Horse. I called Brett instead of texting. He sounded reluctant to share details, but with some pressing he finally told me what happened. The guys had been giving Marcus a hard time about wedding planning. When Nathan asked if he was ready to be tied down forever, Marcus expressed doubts about the timing. When Nathan asked what was holding him back, Marcus, who was apparently drunk, said something like, "If you had a better body I'd be more excited about this wedding." Then he laughed like it was hilarious. Brett told me he and other guys called Marcus